Alrighty. Week 1 is in the books. Wow. That was a lot of football to process. And
Mhm.
I have my thoughts, but Corstian, I first want to check in on you, see how you're doing. Broncos, major win. Defense stepped up big time, but what did you think of week 1 just in general?
Felt like it was a crazy week 1. Um, I mean, like, obviously from a fantasy perspective, I think there were a lot of duds that happened with high expectation players, which I felt like was the overall talk of the town. I saw like the worst fantasy lineup you could have had or whatever of like starting players for this week 1, right? And like Jamar Chase and AJ Brown are both on that list, and I'm like, yikes, that's crazy.
I have both on my dynasty team.
Yeah.
That's why I lost so badly.
hmm But yeah, so it was like a mix of that. I mean, like, I even think of like Travis Kelce, who in the end he kind of salvaged his day with a touchdown, but like literally up until then, he just kind of didn't look like he was really a part of the game script. And you're like, shoot, like what's happening with him? Um, Obviously, the Dolphins. This is one of my little overreactions, but like the Dolphins, what happened to them? Where they just looked like an embarrassing football team. Might be the worst. Like obviously overreaction again, but they might be the worst team in the league this season, which is crazy.
I did not see that one coming at all.
I don't think anybody saw that coming.
Bo Nix let me down, man. Like this is my lineup. We had put up maybe 100 points, and keep in mind 30 of this came from Derrick Henry. Thank goodness I drafted Derrick Henry with the first round pick. I was like, oh man, am I reaching here when I drafted him? But I'm like, he might finish his RB1, dude, with the way he's competing.
Oh, he's a baller.
Bo Nix 6 points, Devontae Adams 9 points, Xavier Worthy 0 points. Nothing you can do about that. He got hurt. Sam Laporta for a while. Eagles defense let me down. So it's not as bad as it looks. But speaking of the dynasty roster, like people who let me down, just looking it up real quick. Wait, no, this is week 2. Go back to week 1. Move. Okay. CJ Stroud, 10 points. Let's see here. Jamar Chase, 4.6. AJ Brown, 1.8. Let's see here. TJ Hawkinson, 4.5. Dak Prescott, 8 points. And he looked good for 8 points, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I benched Michael Penix because I wasn't sure what to expect. But I might be starting Michael Penix. I just got to figure out whether it's over Dak or over CJ Stroud. I have no idea what I'm going to do.
Like, Penix looked good. His rushing touchdown was super clutch too.
Exactly. And I'm going to dive more into him actually. But yeah, let's go ahead and get it started. Obviously, I just want to say for Bears fans, I'm done with this team. Like after one game, I'm gonna stop. I'm just kidding, of course. But for 3 quarters, they played as well as you possibly could, and then I'm putting this loss on Caleb, and I'll tell you why. He was overthrowing receivers. You could hear on the broadcast he's missing easy reads to receivers. He can't throw a flat route really great. He missed DJ Moore, then proceeded to kill his receiver, DJ Moore, on a pass. Like, that can't happen. And then, like, he inexplicably tries to throw the ball away even though he's off balance. And, like, he has no chance of regaining his balance instead of just taking the sack. So you lose more yardage by just not falling down and holding on to the ball. And then on top of that, they got a punt blocked, a kick miss, a kick malfunction after they're trying to cover their butts, and then a defense that, for some explicable reason, stopped trying to stop the run. And combine that with 12 penalties, they deserve to lose that game. The Bears shouldn't have won that game because they let their opponents off the hook. And I want to give all the credit to JJ McCarthy because he did make some throws, and we can talk about it later. He did make some throws that he made the perfect area to throw them at. Touchdown to Jefferson, a touchdown to Aaron Jones, which I thought was more impressive of a throw, and then the touchdown run. But this is on the Bears for not being undisciplined. So that's my short 2 cents on it. You can give your short 2 cents on the Broncos, barely edging out the Titans if you want, but Since the game was fresh in my mind, I just had to get that off my chest.
Yeah. Caleb Williams really did fumble that. Like the overthrows are what was really brutal for the Bears there. But going to the Broncos, obviously Bo Nix looked like he struggled quite a bit. Obviously defense was insane. I think defense second half allowed a total net 2 yards of offense. I'm like, that is insane. Obviously there was dropped passes and whatnot, but like, and then another crazy stat with the defense in the passing game, Pat Surtain as the nearest defender to like a target or whatever, or the nearest defender didn't allow a catch all game. And I'm like, insane.
This is why he's the best corner in the league, man.
Yeah, so obviously defense was kind of the hero of the game, but something that I think a lot of, like from what I've seen from like Broncos fans talking, is a huge underrated aspect of this game was how good the Broncos rushing game was. Like you have J.K. Dobbins run for like 60, 70 yards or whatever on like 8 or 9 carries, and you have R.J. Harvey with like 60 yards on like 10 carries. I'm like, Broncos should have been running a lot more during the game because like you're having insane efficiency in the run game, and I think hopefully I'm hoping that the coaching staff sees how efficient the run game was and kind of like tries to commit to more of that going forward, especially because I feel like the front seven of the Titans isn't like something to kind of joke about. They have good players there that I think are impressive. Like literally last week we talked about how Jeffrey Simmons, right, was like an underrated, really good veteran on a losing team that they could, look to move on from and trade away, because he does have value in that aspect. And so it's like they got ballers on defense, and the Broncos run game was unstoppable almost despite the poor passing attack. So, it's like you're stacking the box. You're in a position where maybe you want to stack the box, and the Broncos are still running on you. So that was one of my kind of favorite underrated moments of the Broncos game.
And despite that, Cortland Sutton put up a respectable stat line, and JK, like, I don't know if I mentioned this last week going into the fantasy draft and recap and stuff. He was one of like guys like if I didn't invest in Derrick Henry, James Cook, I would have targeted at like round 7 and 8. And it's easy to say that in retrospect because I've always been a big J.K. Dobbins believer. Coming out of the draft with Jonathan Taylor, I thought he was right up there with him, if not second. It's just kind of injuries have robbed him of the career he's had. So the real question with him is not necessarily is R.J. Harvey going to beat him out. It's more like health. Like because if J.K. Dobbins had his way, he'd be the unquestioned lead back of this offense. But he probably wouldn't be in Denver at this point because he's been let go because of injuries. So when you got a 1A, 1B situation with Dobbins and Harvey, I would lean into that if I were the Broncos. And what we saw in McCarthy yesterday is sometimes all it takes is a really good running attack to get your offense flowing. And that might be the way to go to sort of get the play action going. Mr. Joker himself, Evan Ingram, 3 for 21. You love to see it. So my point is somebody's got to step up as a secondary option. You saw Troy Franklin have a decent stat line, but hopefully somebody help out my boy Sutton over here. I was thinking it was Mims, but right now it's anybody's take right now.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. And then also Pat Bryant, the 3rd round pick of the Broncos, got like 4 snaps in total, I think, during the game. And so I think part of that was he was like dealing with some illness, so they're not playing him a lot there. And then I think they're just trying to ease him in while they have similar caliber players, at least in their eyes, already like fully ready to go in the offense. So, Pat Bryant could be a guy down the stretch that sees an increase in playtime plus efficiency. So that'll be something to look out for too.
Another thing to observe, Nick Bonito and Zach Allen had themselves a game. Nick Bonito stat line, 1 sack. Did he have 2 tackles for loss? Yeah. 3 quarterback hits. Also with 3 quarterback hits, Zach Allen, 1 tackle for loss, 1 sack. So they're very effective as like kind of like their edge players on the team. Not just them, Jonathan Cooper as well, McMillan, like a lot of guys. Jonah Ellis, Justin Strnad, like they all affected the quarterback in some way. So credit to everybody on the D.
Yeah, with Nick Bonito, right? Like apparently he had like 8 pressures during the game, and like 3 of them were like high speed pressures, which were like that came in under like 3 seconds or something. And I'm like, that's insane. And the Broncos just extended him to about $30 million a year. So, if he keeps this trajectory up, that'll be a huge steal for the Broncos, especially because it looks like he's gotten better at run defense as well a little bit.
Well deserved. Speaking of like crazy pressures in like 2 seconds, I want you to take a look at this clip, and I want you to tell me what's going to happen to the NFC after watching this. Okay, so let me pull this up real quick. Share my screen. Oh, I'm gonna take the banner out. So nope. I'm gonna eventually figure this out. I'm trying to get the right icons on a split screen. So share screen here. All right. This is Micah Parsons on Penei Sewell. This is a clip from Clay Harbor on Twitter. This is not credit. This is not our video, so we just want to credit him for uploading this. This is a rep right here. 2 seconds. See how quick Jared Goff got rid of that ball? And Micah Parsons did not play that often in the game. He was playing situationally on 3rd and 4th down, and the rest of Green Bay's defense got pressures on their own, like Edgerrin Cooper, like Rashawn Gary, Wyatt, like you name it. Like they did not seem to miss Kenny Clark on that defense. But if you're having Penei Sewell get beat like that in 2 seconds, this is not the only clip of Micah Parsons doing this. You have like a bunch of different clips. The chase down sack, obviously people are going to remember that because it's his first career sack as a Packer. But if you see this happening on the interior side, that is going to be a recipe for disaster for all the NFC quarterbacks.
Yeah, for sure.
That was a major reason why I say the Packers beat the Lions 27-6, because by the time the Lions scored that 13-point, it was really not a contest. But that is insane. Like if you're able to force quarterbacks to get rid of the ball that fast, that's how Evan Williams got a pick. And this might have been the same play. Wow, like that is just incredible. So I know I didn't give you much to say about that, but go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, like that's what the Packers traded for, right? That's why they sent 2 first-round picks and Kenny Clark, because Micah Parsons is a game wrecker. Like that's his job. That's what he's able to do. Now, honestly, just with like that addition alone, I think, like because like obviously we had our the season forecast kind of that we did, obviously evaluating all the teams, and we're like Packers are like, oh, we have question marks about the Packers, with the consistency and whatnot, but they're still a good team. They still won 11 games, so we got to give them credit for that, And now it's like, I don't have too many questions for them now, just because, like, defensively, I'm like, they're as competitive as pretty much any other team in the league. It really comes down to the offense now, and as long as Josh Jacobs is healthy, I think their offense will be efficient enough that they could realistically be in contention to be like they could win any game during their schedule. Some might be harder and more unrealistic, necessarily, but like Micah Parsons, I think, puts them at that caliber of they could beat any team potentially in the league, and then any given.
As a Bears fan, I think it's Super Bowl or bust. Like they better win a Super Bowl in the next 2 years. Otherwise,
yeah, ain't that crazy?
that's the position they put themselves in, and like. What's crazy is they're doing this to an NFC North team that had 15 wins. And I think the other side of the observation we need to take away from this is just watching the Lions and the Packers as a whole, and the way Detroit's used to dominating the line of scrimmage the past 2 years with a Ben Johnson-led offense. And then, in addition to Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn leaving, Frank Ragnow left. And they were trying to fill multiple spots on the interior O-line. That is now their biggest weakness on the team. And it kind of tanked their entire offense. Like Sam Laporta, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery. Until further notice, this might be an overreaction, but I think they're all going to take a massive step back this season because they can't figure out their middle of the O-line. Because that's what happened to the Bears last year. That's their exact problem. They couldn't figure out the interior of their O-line, and it kind of tanked whatever hopes they had despite having the amount of skill positions.
Yeah.
And if Detroit's not able to figure this out, it doesn't matter how many good skill positions they have, they can't protect the inside. Because one thing about Jared Goff, and I know he has been voted top 10 by both of us in our rankings. I think I had Jared Goff at 10, if not 11. I'd have to double check. If he faces interior pressure, just like any quarterback, he especially caves under that. And that is not a recipe. The reason why Detroit had such a high floor was because they did so well on the offensive line. And now that's changed because of just absences. So that is a big thing to look for. And this game is not to be overlooked. Now, if the Bears can capitalize on this next season, and next week, we'll see. I don't know because they look like they could for 3 quarters against Minnesota's offensive line, but then fourth quarter they just wet the bed. So we'll see. But that's a big thing I would monitor throughout the season. And don't be surprised if the Lions have 8 or 9 wins instead of like the 11-12 we're expecting. And that might be an overstatement because overreaction, but offensive line is a big problem for them.
Yeah, but also it is against the Packers D-line, which at this point I'm like, this might be one of the best pass rush / defensive line group units in the entirety of the league. Again, like you really realistically, you put Myles Garrett, T.J. Watt, Trey Hendrickson, and Micah Parsons as they're my top 4, I'd say, on any defensive line, and I think you could argue any one of those 4 defensive lines instantly becomes like a top 5 D line in the entirety of the league just because of the impact. Like
the Jets put up 32 though. I just don't want it to get unnoticed. But I get your point. It's just from a player talent, yes, absolutely. I would agree. But
like Micah Parsons on the Bears defensive line, they're a top 5 defensive line unit in the league. You put him on the Dolphins defensive line unit, I think, is a top 5 unit because they have other serviceable players. So like, but yeah, I get your point though. Lions definitely choked. Not trying to like put the blame away 100%. Like this is still on them. Where you got to do better, but also week one's week one. It's fun to do the overreactions though, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. What observations did you have from week 1?
Jets. Yo, the Jets, despite the loss, looked phenomenal this last week. Like Justin Fields looked like a dog. Like I'm excited for the Jets this year. They're one of the teams that I'm excited for going like from this point on. Like I hope the Jets offense is able to stay on fire. I think my biggest excitement moment with Justin Fields going to the Jets was the fact that he was reuniting with Garrett Wilson, because like I feel like Wilson was targeted a ton in the game and they were just like in sync so well. Like obviously you got a clip right here, right?
Yep. Look at how accurate he is too with the scramble.
And like the throw power is crazy too. Like that zip he had on the throw, I was like,
that's hard. That was like going to your left and like trying to throw to your right. That's not easy to do. Like obviously we knew he can scramble out of the pocket, but this kind of accuracy, like I think it was thrown to Sherwood, number 16. I had to double check who that is, but if he's doing this like on the throws, because the major problem with him on the Bears was like he'd have easy throws, the flat and the outs that he would just flat out miss. And you saw some of this during preseason and training camp where like a lot of people were overreacting and worried, but you still have the scramble ability. You saw the naked bootleg for the touchdown. Like Breece Hall had a great game. Like he's a bargain.
Oh, yeah.
I think you had talked about it a little bit last week. Like they started out really well, putting up 32 on. Okay. Let me stop sharing that. I don't know what's going on here. But yeah, I mean, if you're getting that from the Jets, like this is incredible.
Yeah, so obviously it was unfortunate that they lost. I was rooting for them hard at the end of the game, but also career day from Aaron Rodgers, low key. Like Aaron Rodgers played great football, but like Because there's moments where like Rodgers is just piecing him up, and you're like, "Are you kidding me?" But then there's a couple moments where it's like the Jets defense kind of locked in. It just they had those like one or two plays where just kind of was like a blown coverage or it's like a huge mistake that took place, and it comes down to like the discipline of the team, I think. And I think I'm hoping that as the season goes on with the Jets, that their defense will kind of like stay more consistent because you have like Will McDonald. He applied decent pressure throughout the game. Obviously, I think Sauce Gardner had a pretty good game yesterday against DK Metcalf. Calvin Austin was kind of the big surprise from the Steelers, but overall, Jets, they looked like a lot of fun. Justin Fields, I'm super excited for. Breece Hall looked really good. I'm really kind of got him in like a ton of different fantasy leagues this year as like not a super late, but like a later pick, like fourth, fifth round or whatever. But yeah, so that's my thought about the Jets. I think my second other big favorite point was Indiana Jones, Daniel Jones, Vanilla Vic, Danny Dimes, whatever you like to call him. He looked good. I mean, obviously at this point, I'm like, Dolphins might just be the worst team in the entirety of the league with how they performed. Yeah, but Daniel Jones looked good. He was running, he was throwing good. Arguably, this might be the best team he's been on in his entire career, like just with how they performed. Because like ultimately, I know there's a clip of this too. I don't remember where it was, but it was literally showing how.
I can try and look it up.
Yeah, it was just like you might be able to find any play of like the pocket that the offensive line was able to create with the Colts. Like the Colts offensive line is better right now. I mean, obviously they're a phenomenal offensive line. That's kind of been the story of the past couple of years. That's why the Vikings signed two of their offensive linemen to like be a starter, right? Colts, if anything, they've been good at drafting and developing offensive linemen. And so there's like a play where it's like Daniel Jones had the hugest pocket to throw in, and it's like the Giants have never given Jones anywhere near this caliber of offensive line. Same with like Saquon Barkley. I mean, you look at the jump with Saquon, right? From Giants O-line to the Eagles O-line, like you give him a good line, all of a sudden he runs for 2,000 rush yards. Daniel Jones, it's like you give him a pocket, and he was really good. I mean, I don't think this level of success is going to be sustained over the entirety of the season. Like, I still have my reserves about Daniel Jones, but I think some people forget, like, this is a Daniel Jones who managed to earn a $30 million a year contract from the Giants, overpaying Saquon for whatever stupid reason. But hey, he got that contract one way or another, and I like Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I'm not able to pull anything from X right now, but that I was looking at our verification process. Crazy had to come during our recording. Anyway, I think the big problem with Daniel Jones that turned a lot of people off from him is he would tend to hold on to the ball for too long to the point that he would get stripped of the ball. And people see this one clip of him running 70 yards down the field wide open and then just tripping on the turf. And they categorize him as this clumsy guy who's like mistake prone when it really was the Giants like who failed to build a decent offensive line around him. People forget the Colts still have Quentin Nelson. They still have a lot of guys on their offensive line and they get him to play. Like there's a lot to dive into with the Colts, but I think 1 year in Minnesota or like half a year in Minnesota really helped Daniel Jones a lot. When you're thinking about like journeyman quarterback already, going to the Colts and like performing the way he did. And is it bad Dolphins defense? Bad Dolphins team in general? Who knows? It's week 1. But I think to see this in the Shane Steichen offense, you're seeing like how it's supposed to be run, as opposed to like how like Anthony Richardson and the ghost of Phillip Rivers and like the amount of QBs they had tried out since Andrew Luck. It's not panned out well. So this is like you saw Shane Steichen do wonders with Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, and now he's got his QB that can just operate the offense the way it's supposed to be operated. And like you're seeing the results in week 1. What an impressive win by I don't think Colts fans were expecting this right out of the gate.
Oh, literally, I saw like the Colts subreddit, and like there was one that was like it was like they had like a bunch of doomer posts of like, oh, here we are before we get hurt again, and all that kind of like, can't wait for us to get crushed with Daniel Jones, and everybody was making fun of Daniel Jones, and then it's like I looked at the game thread that they had running, and it was all like, I apologize, even if he sucks the rest of the season. I apologize for every negative thing I've said about Daniel Jones up until this point, because man, even if it's just one game, it's nice to see how a good quarterback is supposed to play at least once in a while, you know? Because it's like we've been in quarterback purgatory for so long.
I don't think you're the only one, buddy.
Yeah, and so, you know, I'm happy for the Colts fans there. Daniel Jones looks exciting.
I got something for you.
Yeah?
All right, so let's see here. I got this clip from the NFL highlights.
Yeah.
Take a look at this. I think this is pretty impressive. The pocket protection is not perfect, but watch how he reads the field and throws his out. Okay, basic out route, right? Look at where I'm going to try and stop it where the center is right on. Look at where he's releasing this ball from. The center is basically right on his left foot. He has like no room to step into the throw and power it. And he still has the confidence to throw it anyway. We know this about Daniel Jones because this is what has gotten in trouble. But to your point about the line, look at how much of a protection shell he has. And this is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 right here. 5, 6. This is a 6-man rush or like a 5-man rush because this guy's tackling the backer.
Yeah.
That's the fact that he's throwing this with. I don't think you would see Anthony Richardson do this. What will more than likely happen is Richardson's trying to sneak out the back between these two guys, knowing that his backer's going. And that's either approach is not wrong, but when you're talking about trying to make sure you count for everybody else, look at that throw on the boundary. And I know it's kind of a little bit uncontested, but throwing it in rhythm under that duress, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you also look at like the Colts depth chart. The center definitely is the biggest question mark as of right now. And so it's like that's like one aspect of just like the center potentially just getting blown up on that play a little bit. But also he got that ball. I counted it out, and it was basically a 3-second release, which I mean is what you're looking for with these quarterbacks. And so even though the pressure was kind of getting close to him, it was like it was literally the 3-second drop back release or whatever. And I think that looked good from him, you know.
Oh, 100%. Next thing I would look for, and I kind of called this when saying, along with Nick Chubb, this is a guy to keep an eye out for. DeAndre Hopkins. Let's see if this video is going to buffer. Look at this throw, and then look at the catch. I'm going to try and zoom it into a different angle here. That is crazy. That he's still making these catches at his age in a scenario where, like, why would you target this? I think this is something that's not to be overlooked. And this is despite, okay, Derrick Henry went crazy. Lamar went crazy. Zay Flowers went crazy.
Yeah.
But if you have this different element where, like, he could probably lead the Ravens in touchdown receptions. It's either going to be him or Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
But the fact that you have this element on the boundary like this, on top of a very improved Rashad Bateman over time. Going to charge my laptop. But the fact that you have the combination of like those three, like that's like the best weaponry Lamar's ever had, like in this season. And I think I would go get him, like if you're in redraft or dynasty, just from the fact that he could score a touchdown any game. And he's going to have an impact on the Ravens this season. He looks like he's in full health, and I'm shocked the Chiefs let him go.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Hopkins plays. He's obviously like he is technically older, but I think a lot of his strength throughout his career, obviously like more than his route running ability and overall speed, was his hands. Like I feel like the clip that goes off in my mind of like the ultimate DeAndre Hopkins highlight was the one play where like Kyler Murray was running out like through it like as he was going out of bounds, and like Hopkins catches it in triple coverage or whatever, you know, like that. I feel like that's like the most famous Hopkins play. And like I feel his best trait is just his contested catch ability, and I think that is a huge bonus for the Ravens right here, where you have Zay Flowers, who I think he can make some of these contested catches, but nowhere near to the level of what DeAndre Hopkins has done throughout his career. And so even if maybe Hopkins isn't getting super wide open and getting these racking up these 60+ yard game average or whatever that that you wish you could see for a 1,000-yard receiver, like you said, I think he can be a touchdown hog in this offense too.
Yeah, and I think for fantasy, like a week-to-week basis, if you need a bye week fill-in, he's the perfect guy for that. Not going to guarantee he's not going to put a bad stat line, but like the upside, if you're like me and have Derrick Henry on like all my lineups pretty much, that is something that like he can do. He can get you three receptions, 36 yards, and a touchdown, 12 points. That's all you need. That's great. That's great for him. I'm trying to pull up right now another guy. We talked about this a little bit, but Michael Penix, like we got to start talking about him this season. I was kind of kicking myself that I didn't draft him late, but like he looks like he's the quarterback answer along with Zach Robinson's offense. Obviously, I'm not talking about the check down to Bijan to start the game. Like that's just Bijan going crazy. Well, look at this placement on the ball here. This is not a touchdown, but just take a look at the placement here. And if this receiver kept going, that's an easy touchdown. The fact that he's kind of anticipating the defender kind of plays soft, right? But he's throwing this in rhythm, like right there. Right there is kind of where he's going at. He's trusting his receiver to be there and the spot that he's throwing at. And the fact that he's this comfortable with this offense is, to me, I think is a great sign, especially against a Todd Bowles defense. Because with Todd Bowles, you got to realize he's going to bring in different types of pressures. And basically, I don't think it was bad Penix for the reason they lost. He had a running touchdown for crying out loud. But like, if you watched it, like I was watching the game, like pretty much the entire time, and he was making adjustments for most of the play clock to get them the right looks because of what he was seeing during Bowles. You're not going to see that from many coordinators unless it's Flores or like a Vic Fangio type defense and things like that. And I think he's got big statistical upside this season. So I'm going to try and look for there's another clip where he's, this is from Matt Wallman, but he had a nice throw to, let's see here. It was a throw to Drake London where I really liked how he placed the ball. Can't find it at the moment, but it was one of I think it was a touchdown pass to Drake London that was ruled an incomplete pass, but he had to throw it in a single spot, and it was a tightly contested ball. And these are the types of things you look for in the quarterbacks. Like, can they deliver under pressure? And a lot of people think Michael Penix can't run because he's a pocket-based passer, but you saw him get that running touchdown, and I think he's going to prove a lot of people wrong this season.
Yeah. I mean, like he's a very athletically. I know he's really fast. I don't remember what the stats were for his like overall speed, but I know like the big thing was in college he barely ever ran the football
because he had torn ACLs.
Yeah, and then obviously like the leg injury, so it's like people questioned his. And that was kind of some people's questions about Michael Penix, going into his rookie year draft or whatever. But like you said, I think, a huge trait and thing that we both really liked was just his overall ability as a passer and his confidence as a passer. And that confidence tied to being a good passer, like that last throw right there, right? Where he throws with both anticipation and trust and just like, it's a good throw straight up that lets his guy make the catch and get a good gain. I just like to imagine how much better the Falcons could low-key be if they weren't having to pay Kirk Cousins that stupid contract, right?
Man, that is, I'm so glad they got out of it. I found the clip over here, and I'm gonna share it real quick. Took me a little bit of digging as you're kind of explaining things, so appreciate you distracting.
Yeah.
All right, so this is a red zone opportunity, and watch how tightly the defender plays Drake London here. There's only one way to go to the ball. It's the inside, and he places it in a perfect position where Drake London can only catch the ball. And like these are the types of throws that like in rhythm, like in tight quarters, like in the red zone, like you have to hit. Like this is my concern with Caleb Williams. I don't think he could hit the easy throws on time and rhythm. And with Justin Fields when he was on the Bears and whatnot. And Penix has shown he's able to do that. So like these are the types of things in addition to not being afraid to throw the deep ball at times. Like you saw him getting Kyle Pitts involved. And that's one of the reasons why I think Kyle Pitts, if he were ever to have a rebound season, this would be it. Because he finally has a quarterback that can get him the ball confidently and in rhythm. So you saw him being used on tight end screens, like down the boundary where it's really a wide receiver screen, like bubbles, like, and even down the seam. Michael Penix can get the ball in those scenarios. I didn't have confidence Marcus Mariota and Desmond Ridder can, and that's really the difference you see.
Yeah. But also, I do say props to the Buccaneers. I say no Liam Cohen, no problem, right? Like, that was a huge question, I think, about a lot of people going into this season as well. I mean, we've seen some teams, like, Eagles, the Lions both lose their offensive coordinators, both highly touted offenses last season. And we see a bit of struggle this year, right? At least it's week one, overreactions, but with the Buccaneers, I think there's a lot of those questions, especially Bucky Irving. Was it kind of like a one-hit wonder, one-year wonder kind of rookie running back situation, especially with like lower draft capital? You're like, maybe he was just kind of good for a year. Maybe it's a James Robinson situation. Obviously, I think he's better than James Robinson. But you have that. You're like, Godwin is out at the start of the year. Can Ibuka, fill that role? Even Jalen McMillan is.
I'm a believer.
He's out, so it's like there's all these question marks. Baker Mayfield, was he a product of Liam Cohen's system? Maybe he sucks the rest of the season, but as of right now, the Buccaneers offense looked really solid. Ibuka was fantastic. He fit in perfectly. Of the first round, or I guess of almost all the rookie receivers, I think he had probably one of the best rookie receiving stat lines, I think. I know McMillan, like Pat McMillan was okay. Matthew Golden really didn't do all too much. Travis Hunter had a couple plays. Luther Burden had one catch for like -3 yards.
Zacchaeus is starting over him, so it's Luther Burden might be a dynasty play more than anything.
Yeah, he's receiver 4 right now, so it's not a knock. I was just kind of going through all the highly touted. Jaden Higgins didn't really do much. Jalen Noel wasn't really. So I feel like Ibuka really did have the biggest highlight, I guess, or the biggest moments amongst the rookie receivers. And the fact that he's able to fit in right away honestly makes me think that. But Chris Godwin, if they're doing good, Chris Godwin might come in later in the season to give him more time to rest and recover if they need it. Because right now it's like, oh, we're expecting him around week 4 to 6 or whatever, And it's like, yeah, if you're struggling, I can see you trying to push him weeks 4 or 5-ish. But like, if Ibuka and Mike Evans are both sitting there on a pace to 1,000 receiving yards apiece, it's like maybe we can wait till week 8 or 9 to get Chris Godwin, back on the field, make sure he's healthy, and then use the last stretch of the season to kind of get him fully back up to speed, so that once it comes playoff time, we're ready for that.
I 100% agree. I think honestly, Ibuka can keep up the stat line for 5 to 6 more weeks. Because if he doesn't, Mike Evans will go off. Like that's kind of the dilemma defenses face, and that's why I don't think this is just a rookie charm first game. I think the same with Keon Coleman. I think the ways they won and the ways they were utilizing their offenses are really, really.
Keon a dog, man.
Dude, it was like if he was being used like Stephon Diggs, I would have concerns because I don't think that's repeatable. The way it was used down the boundary and the way Josh Allen has innate trust in him, I think it's different. I think this is Gabe Davis gone right. And Ibuka, so that's a side tangent. But Ibuka, the way he wins, there's some of his post routes where he just has the head fake to the sideline and is just running for a touchdown catch. That's just insanity. The types of stuff and he had a deep crosser for his first touchdown. But I think it's one of those things where it's like if you have him on your roster, I wouldn't trade him. I would keep him. Don't try to trade high because he could keep this up for at least 3 to 4 more games. And if he's not for 1 week, it's because Mike Evans had like 130 yards, 2 touchdowns on like 7 receptions or something like that. Mike Evans does that like 2 or 3 times a season at minimum. So if you have Chris Godwin, I wouldn't panic. Like I would just wait. Like unless you have multiple injuries on your roster, don't draft Chris Godwin. Keep him in the IR slot if you have it. Because I think what's going to happen is like week 7 through 9, like once he comes back at some point during that time, he's going to hit the ground running and be just as effective. And that might be a different dilemma. But I think for right now, if you have a Buka, I put him in your flex and I would ride the wave. Because in this offense, he's going to thrive.
Yeah, I have him in Dynasty. I'm happy, but my flex is so stacked.
You got the flex, man. Now you want me to check it.
Cortland Sutton, Zay Flowers, and Jacoby Myers were my 3 flex players in Dynasty.
Nice.
18, 28, and 17 points apiece. I mean, Ibuka still put up 23, so I mean, obviously that's the dilemma, but
I mean, you're not wrong starting any of those options. So
right, they all balled out. I'm happy.
You ready for some overreactions? I know we kind of gave a couple.
Yeah. Are you want me to go with an overreaction?
Go for it.
Let's see. Are the Buccaneers a top 2 team in the NFC right now? Is take number 1. Looking at the NFC games, like crazy hot take moment would be obviously just looking off of the week 1 slate, right? Would be the Packers looked like the scariest team in the NFC with just how the offense was. It'd be like Jordan Love goes online, and if Matthew Golden starts the ball out with Josh Jacobs there, like you're in trouble on offense. Micah Parsons on the defense, they could be gunning for number 1 seed in the NFC. But following that, like just the lack of week 1 struggles, I'm like, are the Buccaneers potentially the second scariest, especially like their offense isn't fully healthy right now. And it's like, if you get them at the back end of the season, are they like the next best team after the Packers? How's that for an overreaction?
I mean, great. I mean, to fit the segment, you did absolutely phenomenal. To be that realistic guy, I think you're putting major disrespect on the Eagles and the Rams. I think the Rams had a crazy, well-defined win. But and the 49ers. 49ers like won a really tough game despite Jake Moody being Jake Moody. They ended up cutting him and have to deal with a new kicker situation and the CMAC injuries and stuff like that and everything that they got going on. But I think that this is more about like until further notice, Buccaneers are the NFC South like division winners to watch out for right now because Atlanta's going to give them a fight based on what we've seen from them, but it don't matter. I think they got it unlocked. So that was great. I'm going to give that a B+.
B+? I appreciate it.
Because the other teams. Just the other teams. For me, I kind of looked at the segment in a different light. It's just kind of like satire. But mine is the Jaguar wide receivers are overhyped.
Yeah.
So, Travis Hunter, 6 receptions, 33 yards. Meh. Brian Thomas, 1 reception, 11 yards. Diami Brown, better receiver than both of them. And they all got outplayed by Brennan Strange. But again, obviously, do I think this? No. I think Brian Thomas is a dog. He's a true number 1 on the team. Travis Hunter, he's going to have to play the wide receiver 2 role just because the Jaguars need as many weapons on offense as possible. But this is not a great week 1, and they won by 16. So technically, if Travis Etienne is putting up 140 yards every game, they don't need their wide receivers to be dogs. So I think they're overhyped.
Okay. Next one. Oh, I just had it in my mind. Oh my gosh. Shoot. So had the Bengals lost against the Browns week 1. They barely won, right? Had they lost this game, Zach Taylor is fired. Is my overreaction / hot take, where it's like the Bengals over the last, I guess now 7 seasons of whatever football, weeks 1 and 2, they are now 2-11.
Yeah.
If they were 1-12, I'm like, how can you let this happen? Every start of the season is the slowest possible thing. Like, but then they end up the season and Joe Burrow has MVP numbers. So you're like, okay, whatever.
Oh yeah, by those MVP numbers: 423, 113 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 sacks. So yeah, classic offense. Chase Brown, 21 carries, 43 yards. He averaged 2 yards a carry, man. Normally I wouldn't pay attention to these stats, but like, dang, that's bad. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins combined for 5 receptions, 59 yards combined.
Yeah.
And you know who the real surprise? And I think he's not going away. We clowned on him, but I think Noah Fant is going to have a productive role in this offense.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised by it.
Like, because he doesn't need to be the focal point. You got Jamar Chase. He's a wide receiver 1 on any offense. You got a second number 1 in T. Higgins. And then you got Chase Brown, who normally is good. Just had a terrible day. And you got Mike Gesicki kind of taking up the seams and stuff like that. Noah Fant could do some damage. So because he's in the situation he's in, I actually think he's a good like bye-week flyer. Right? So yeah, totally. Maybe my new overreaction is he's going to be a top 5 tight end. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't like it was. Man, like I was just thinking about this because of like I feel like every week 1 is crazy to an extent, but like it felt crazy. Like we were to get a contender for game of the year with the Ravens versus the Bills. Like,
that was insane.
Dude, that game made me so much money. Like the shootout was crazy.
I feel so bad for Derek, man. That was rough.
Yeah, but like Josh Allen is a dog.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I drafted him. But like, dude, like just watching Josh Allen play, that Keon Coleman touchdown was ridiculous.
And honestly, the Ravens made a mistake there. They should have just let him run into the end zone because he looked like he was going to run in. But like, even the tip touchdown, crazy. Like stripping Derrick Henry in that situation, like bonkers. Like it's just the Ravens had total control of this game. Yeah, that's you. If you get game of the year in week 1, that's wow. Like that could be an overreaction itself. Buffalo. But my overreaction kind of hinted at this in the start. The Chicago Bears are doomed at QB because I saw some of the throws Caleb made, and I was like, dude, you gotta read the room in this situation. You can't be just missing the throw, like overthrowing Cole Kmet, like missing a wide open DJ Moore, like screwing up the flat pass, like not playing in rhythm, like trying to throw it away when you should just take a sack and not a position to do so, and then like stepping out of bounds when you're trying to throw, not being conscious of the sideline and like play clock down, calling timeouts early. Like it was a rough watch. It was a really rough, and I probably seemed way too harsh. I believe in the talent, but like he's got to play with a little bit more urgency. That can't come from your head coach, man. You shouldn't have your head coach like Johnson kind of force it out of you. That's gonna come from you. And I sort of said this last year, but maybe it wasn't all Eberflus. I don't think it was all Eberflus. Because if you look at the Detroit game, the way that ended Thanksgiving, I also said this. That's also on Caleb Williams. For not playing with enough urgency. And when you saw the momentum slip the way it did, and you weren't able to combat it until the game was like a 10-point game, I give credit for you for like getting us back in the game, but like at what extent? Like when you're up 11, I think is where the frustration lies. You just got to continue to make smart decisions and not get complacent. So my overreaction: the Bears are doomed at QB. Again, I looked at this from the satire perspective. I actually believe in Caleb Williams. I thought he was best QB in his draft. It's just week 1 as a Bears fan sucked.
Yeah. Yeah, I really hope though. Yeah, Caleb Williams does play better. It did not look good from him literally yesterday, right? Because like he had like the 10 for 10 passing stat line at the start, but then like I saw someone commentate like, sure he was accurate there, but it was a lot of checkdowns and he was avoiding open players downfield in favor of just getting these like early incompletions, which to an extent I get because like build that confidence of your like completions. So that
and also keep the rhythm of your offense. I get it, but like once Flores is overplaying it and playing chess, not checkers, can't be doing that.
Yeah, and then there's even like the whole like overthrow segment that you had too, where it's like there's a lot of plays that were overthrown, but then his receivers just made kind of circus catches to be able to haul those in. So it's
Cole Kmet especially had a ridiculous catch down the seam.
And so it's like he had the overthrow issues that led to the incompletions in the first place, and then you see now like, and then you see the ones that like were caught anyways, and you're like, yikes, this is scary. Hopefully, over the course of the season, he's able to kind of settle in and kind of get his move back or whatever. But yeah, the next bit for my overreaction thought is, who are your two Super Bowl contenders from each conference? Week 1 Super Bowl AFC NFC team.
Miami Dolphins, Carolina Panthers.
Miami Dolphins, Carolina Panthers.
I'm kidding, but if I were to say Buffalo and Green Bay.
I can agree with that.
Maybe Chargers because they beat Kansas City, but I gotta stick with Buffalo after the performance they had against Baltimore. Absolutely had to go Buffalo here.
Yeah, dude, a Buffalo Baltimore AFC conference final would be an insane game to like rematch, and that's all I hope for.
All their games in the clutch were pretty good, except the regular season game last year. But again, I know the Chiefs look really bad right now, but they've been to the conference championship every single season. Patrick Mahomes has been their quarterback. Like, I know things look bleak with Worthy and Rice, but I wouldn't discount it. After the Ravens, don't forget, the Ravens did this at the start of the season last year too. Like the Raiders game, like a bunch of random games, they just start choking it. Like we joke so much about the Bengals. The Ravens have their own issues too.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily peg them into the conference title game. They've had the best roster in the NFL for multiple seasons now, and they've underperformed. So I wouldn't peg them in. Just being serious here, but I would agree if they met in the conference championship, that would be an issue.
Yeah. And then who do you think is? Oh, mine. I say Bills is probably my favorite for AFC, and then I'll be fun and go with my Buccaneers as the NFC.
Your Buccaneers.
It'll be close. I think. I just didn't want to copy you straight up. Okay. I think obviously those look like the scariest. Packers obviously look like a really scary team, but I think Buccaneers give them a run for their money. Especially, I don't know. Like I'm a huge Tristan Wirfs fan too, and so it's like it'll be a fun competition to see Wirfs versus Parsons, like we saw Penei Sewell versus Parsons right here. But yeah, so I think that's my number. That's my thoughts there.
My last overreaction: Dolphins offense is washed. 2 interceptions, 114 yards. Devon Achane didn't exceed 60 yards. Tyreek Hill, 40 yards on 4 receptions, whining and growing, saying, we just got kicked in the balls. Jalen Waddle, 4 receptions, 30 yards. just unacceptable.
Yeah.
Just flat out unacceptable. Like, Tua Tagovailoa had a QBR of 2.7.
Dude.
They might be the worst offense in the NFL. And that's saying
I think without a doubt.
Because the Saints actually competed. Like, Spencer Rattler, like, he's a guy you root for, but that whole situation is just like, you would expect them to be like the worst offense in the NFL going into the season.
Mm-hmm.
For the Dolphins to come out as flat as they did,
mm-hmm.
They honestly looked worse than the Giants.
They looked worse than everybody.
And the Giants were like consistently going to the red zone, like, and they scored less points. But they looked worse than any other team on offense this year.
Mm-hmm.
Like post week 1.
Yeah. Yeah. How many players do you think get traded before the trade deadline from the Dolphins?
I don't think they're trading everybody. I think it's just going to be a fire sale, like, end of the year, where they're just going to eat the cap. So it's like, obviously Tyreek is probably the notable one. Could they trade Minka again? Probably. But they don't have a lot of tradable players on offense. Because, like, think about it. If you're trying to trade Tua, who's going to take him? Like, will the quarterback have, like, the only team I see is the Saints, and why would the Saints do that if they're trying to get Arch? You know? So,
right.
Darren Waller, I cut him from my dynasty lineup because I'm like,
you tried
he's not
trading.
going to help. Yeah. It's great waiver wire pick as soon as he got signed, you know? But, I mean, this might be the one that's the least satirical. They look bad right now. And they gotta clean some stuff up. I might have Tyreek in my flex for one more week because I was gonna replace him with Worthy, but Worthy's hurt. So
yeah,
there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to go but up. But they look terrible.
Yeah, it was like, what was Tua doing? Like, he just looked lost out there because, like, the whole thing too is what's crazy is I think like 2 years ago again, Tua had ridiculous stats, and then like
Broncos.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, he had a crazy season.
Sorry, I had to.
Nah, it's okay. Broncos won week 1, so it's what it is. But like, the Tua fall off is crazy. And then just like Mike McDaniel's likely getting fired this season, you know, like if things don't turn around. So I'm like, I think everybody was expecting, Dolphins week 1 versus the Colts. That's probably a Dolphins W. Before the season started, we're like, Dolphins with Tua hurt probably lose a lot of games, but healthy Tua, you know, we're like, they could be potentially competing for a wild card spot. You know, we're debating like, which team should be number 2 and 3 between the Jets and the Dolphins, you know, in the AFC East. And here we are. I'm like, Dolphins are 4th place in the AFC East in my mind. Like, I don't know how much you can do a turnaround with how depleted that offense looked. Really wondering why they traded away Jonnu Smith in the first place. Like,
I mean, even if he was there, like, I don't think he.
Oh, I know, but like, he doesn't really move the needle all that much for me. But it's like because the Dolphins, I think everybody within the Dolphins organization came into this season thinking, we'll be a competitive team this year, you know? And it's like the way you moved players this offseason, it's like, it's kind of a questionable move, but it's like, I guess. But yeah, it's like Tua, you have like a $50 million a year like tackle dummy on the field at this point with Tua. A-Chain is like, it stinks because he's so young that like and explosive that you're like, we want to have him as a focal point of this team, but it feels like you're just in a complete rebuild, and it's like, how valuable is A-Chain in said rebuild, right? Especially as the caliber player he is. Hill, I wouldn't like feel like Hill. Just looking at him on the sidelines, like he's got to request a trade.
He's just a total distraction to the team right now. Like,
but also if I'm Tyreek Hill, I'd also be pretty upset and be the distraction that I am, because I'm like, in Tyreek's head, in my head too, I'm like, Tyreek can be a good football player. Like, again, we're 2 years removed from the superstar Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, back-to-back 1,700-yard seasons.
Right? And then you're like, oh, down year, but it's less about age and more, I think, about just injuries in the system or whatever. But now we're like, the team sucks. And so obviously, like, I don't think he's gonna want to stay there. Jaden Waddle's a guy that I think you'd want to keep around despite him being made out of glass at this point, which kind of sucks. But he's kind of like, he is a young star, a younger star. He's like, what, 20, mid-20s?
Yeah, he just started like 2 years ago.
Right? And so it's like, he'd probably be a guy that you keep around. Malik Washington, I guess, is decent enough, that you
There's so much hype on him, dude.
Waller's obviously but then like on defense, I guess you keep around Chop Robinson. Matthew Judon was kind of a question mark at this point. Like, you bring him in this season again. Matthew Judon's like we're competitive kind of move, a veteran pass rusher. Bradley Chubb, low key, if you can get if you can get something back for him. The fact that they traded for him and gave the Broncos a first-round pick is kind of crazy. Thankful for that. But yeah, it's like, I don't know. Yeah, like, do you move on from Minka? Obviously, all your cornerbacks are out. So it's like, oops. But
you got one more overreaction? I think that one beats the cake.
Yeah. Indiana Jones MVP, I guess.
Why not?
Why not?
Why not, man? Even over Josh Allen?
Over Josh Allen.
I mean, he's got the weapons. He's gonna come back for the year, like, written all over it. Why not? So we'll end on that. Thank you guys so much. You can follow our Instagram page at amon.a.mission. I'll make it my personal mission to put something up in 2.5 years, 1 year later. So we'll do that. You can follow us on our YouTube channel at Amon a Mission. We'll start to do more clips and stuff like that and have those ready for you guys next week. This was a fun episode. Corstian, anything to say to people before you wave them goodbye?
No, I don't think so.
Alrighty. There you have it, guys. Take it easy.
Yeah. Peace. Yeah.